Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. This time, we're heading over to Turkey to look at their education system.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, they just rolled out a whole new curriculum.
Wow.
It's called the Türkiye Yüzyılı 2024 Maarif Modeli.
Okay.
I think that translates to something like the Century of Turkey 2024 education model.
That's quite a mouthful.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's a big deal, though, because it's going to impact millions of students.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime you're changing up a whole country's education system, that's going to have a big impact.
Absolutely. And we've got this YouTube video by Dr. Maarif,
Hmm.
who really digs into this new curriculum.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and one of the things he focuses on is family unity
Yeah.
and how that plays into this new model.
Yeah, that's a big one, especially these days. Families are facing so many challenges all over the world.
Exactly, like migration, divorce, even things like crime, all of that can really shake up family structures.
Right, right.
And Dr. Chinichi's analysis is really interesting. He points out that this new curriculum is all about what he calls a virtues in action model.
Right.
So it's not just about teaching values in a theoretical way. It's about actually embedding them in the way kids learn everything.
So, like, less about having a separate class on morals and values.
Right, exactly.
And more about weaving it into, I don't know, math class or history or whatever.
Yeah. Like imagine teaching kids about financial responsibility by working it into math problems.
Oh, that's smart.
Right? It's clever, it's memorable, makes those values really stick.
I like it.
But here's the thing. Dr. Shinichi found that even though family unity is one of the 20 core values in this new curriculum, it doesn't show up as much as you might think.
Really?
Yeah, his research actually shows that out of over 3,000 times that values are mentioned, family unity only pops up 37 times.
Wow, that's not a lot.
No, it's just a little over 1%.
Huh. That is surprising, especially since family is such a cornerstone of Turkish culture.
And there's all this research showing how important family unity is for kids to succeed in school.
Right, right.
So it really makes you wonder what's going on there.
Yeah, like, are there other values that they're prioritizing more in the current context of Turkey? Or maybe it's just something they need to develop further as they go along.
That's what makes this whole thing so fascinating, right? We're not just looking at what's there,
Mm.
but also at what might be missing and why.
Totally. Now, hold on. Before we get too carried away here,
Yeah.
Dr. Chinichi did find that there is one place in the curriculum where these discussions about family are front and center.
Oh, really? Where's that?
So there's this new elective course for high schoolers called Family in Turkish Social Life.
Okay.
And it's broken down into 4 units that really delve into family structures from all angles.
Oh, wow. So they are addressing it directly, even if it's not woven throughout the entire curriculum as much as some might expect.
Right. It seems like they're making a conscious effort to tackle these topics head on in this specific course.
Interesting. So it's like they're acknowledging the importance of family, but maybe their approach is a more targeted than we initially thought.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out in practice. So instead of just looking at how many times they use the phrase family unity, Dr. Chinichi actually went deeper and looked at how the curriculum tackles the nitty-gritty of what makes families strong.
Oh, interesting. So it's like looking under the hood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not just saying family is important, but how do you actually build those bonds?
I like that approach. It's getting into the mechanics of how they're trying to instill these values.
Yeah, so he broke it down into 4 main subcomponents.
Okay, let's hear them. What's the first one?
The first one is valuing family unity, and this goes beyond just saying that family is important.
Okay.
It's about understanding why it's important. Understanding the elements that make a family strong, like mutual respect and love and trust.
Right. So it's not just a given. It's about recognizing what actually goes into making that unity work.
Exactly. And then the second subcomponent is demonstrating solidarity within the family.
Ooh. So this is where actions speak louder than words.
You got it. It's about things like open communication, sharing your feelings, supporting each other through tough times, working together to solve problems.
So it's about fostering that sense of togetherness, like being a team.
Right. And it's not just limited to your immediate family either.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The third subcomponent is all about respecting and appreciating parents and elders.
So bringing in that intergenerational aspect.
Yeah, exactly. Recognizing the wisdom and experience of older generations and how important they are for guiding and supporting the younger generation.
Passing down traditions and values, that kind of thing.
Exactly. And then finally, the fourth subcomponent focuses on fulfilling family duties and responsibilities.
Gotcha. So everyone has a role to play in keeping the family unit strong.
Right. It's about contributing to the well-being of the family as a whole, fostering that sense of responsibility and shared purpose.
It's interesting because even though family unity might not be explicitly mentioned as much as some people might expect, these subcomponents suggest a much more nuanced approach.
Right.
It's not just about the phrase itself, but about weaving these very specific actions and behaviors into the curriculum.
Exactly. It's about going beyond just paying lip service to the idea and
Right.
actually giving students the tools and the understanding they need to build strong and resilient families.
Makes you wonder if maybe focusing on these specific actions and behaviors might be even more effective than just harping on the abstract idea of family unity.
That's a really good point. Maybe this approach makes it more relatable for young people.
Right. Makes it more tangible, more applicable to their own lives.
Yeah, it's like instead of just saying family is good, you're giving them concrete ways to make their families good.
And it's important to remember that this is a brand new curriculum,
Hmm.
right? So there's bound to be room for them to tweak it and adjust it as they see how it works in the real
Well,
world.
for sure. Anytime you roll out something this big, there's going to be a learning curve.
Absolutely. Speaking of learning, Dr. Chinichi didn't just analyze the curriculum. He actually offered some concrete suggestions for how they could make it even better.
Yeah, so let's talk about those suggestions. What did Dr. Chinishi think they could do to really make this curriculum sing?
Well, he pointed out that even though those subcomponents are a good start, they could be woven into the curriculum even more seamlessly.
Ah, I see. Like really make them a core part of the learning experience, not just something that pops up every now and then.
Exactly. And he thinks they could do that by bringing family-related themes into a wider range of subjects.
So not just sticking to the obvious ones like social studies or maybe health class.
Right. Like, what if you talked about the impact of migration on families in a geography lesson?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Or you could discuss different types of family structures throughout history in a history class.
It's all about making those connections, making those values relevant to the real world.
Exactly. And he thinks that would make those lessons so much more engaging for students, too. Oh, for sure. If you can tie it back to something they can relate to, it's going to stick with them a lot better.
Right. And it's not just about the curriculum content itself.
Oh, okay. What else did he suggest?
Dr. Chinachi also emphasized the need for professional development for teachers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Giving them the tools and the strategies to really confidently incorporate these family values into their lessons.
Because you can have the best curriculum in the world, but if the teachers aren't equipped to teach it.
It's not going to be as effective.
Right, exactly. And it sounds like he's really advocating for a holistic approach here, because he also talked about the importance of getting parents and families involved, too.
You got it. He thinks it's crucial to create opportunities for parents to learn about the curriculum.
And to talk about how they can reinforce those values at home.
Exactly. It's about building that bridge between school and home, recognizing that education doesn't stop at the classroom door.
It takes a village, as they say.
Right. It really does. And this collaborative approach acknowledges that connection between what kids are learning in school and what's happening in their families.
I love that. And I think Dr. Shinishi's research is so valuable here
Me too.
because it really shines a light on both the strengths and the areas for growth in Turkey's new education model.
And it reminds us that education isn't just about filling kids' heads with facts and figures.
It's about shaping their values and preparing them for life, the whole messy, complicated thing.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today in our deep dive into Turkish education.
We have.
We've explored this ambitious new curriculum, their really nuanced approach to building strong families, and the potential for even more growth as they move forward.
And we hope this has gotten you thinking too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We always want to leave you with something to ponder.
For sure. So here's a question for you, our listeners. How do you think education systems should balance teaching universal values with preserving the values of a specific culture?
That's a tough question, but it's an important one.
Because there are benefits and challenges to both sides.
Right. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, jump into the comments. Let's keep this conversation going.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.